it has been a while since we've had a chance to talk. You look amazing. Of course you are. I mean,
Thank you.
you were on that hello list for what is it, the 50 most beautiful women in 2018. So, hey, why not say you look amazing? How are you doing?
Thank you.
Especially going through what we've been going through for the last year and a half, not just with COVID, what we've been seeing on social media, the terms Karen and Kevin and, Black Lives Matter and, the stories of, the indigenous children. I mean, so much has happened in literally less than 2 years, not just in this country, but around the world. How have you been doing and how have you been handling all of this?
Gosh, to say that it's been a disheartening and difficult year would definitely be an understatement. More than a year, actually. But you know what? I've been okay. Like initially when the pandemic started and the BLM movement and all that was happening in the early months of the pandemic, you know, I was going through a time for sure. Like everybody, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know, how to pivot, like how to still find purpose in my life, especially as a creative person and an actor. And studios were closed and film sets were closed. So, I stayed sane because I have my family, and I've been living with them this whole time. So it's been a lot of good family time, catch up time. But none above that, just being actively trying to find new ways to connect with people and to grow and to, you know, reach outside of my comfort zone a little, with everything that I do. So it's been a difficult year, but I think, for the most part, we're all better for it. And I certainly feel better after this year. I feel like a more compassionate person, and I had a lot of growth this year in so many different ways.
When you talk about growth, I mean, we all know you, of course, as Zoe from Degrassi, but your growth as an actress and somebody, mover and shaker in this business is amazing. Two words, the Cuban. Amazing, and congratulations, not just being one of the stars in it, but producer. Wow. Could you talk about how this came about? Because the Cuban, one of the biggest films that has come out in the last couple of years, and it's a Canadian film too, in certain ways.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Yeah, we're a fully Canadian film, aside from a few cast members, but
Correct.
on the back end of things, we're all Canadian, and and it was just, it was one of those once in a lifetime kind of experiences, to come up with this seed of an idea with my partner Taras Colton, and we pitched it as a short, a pathetic, little seed of an idea for a short film, to Sergio Navarrete, who's the director and also producer, and then we pitched it to Alessandra, who's also the writer and producer. So the four of us kind of came together and really just made it happen. Like we had doors shutting left, right, and center into our faces, and you find ways to kick them open, and we did. And fast forward, I guess now 4.5 years, we made this movie, and we premiered during the pandemic. We did a drive-in release, and we ended up going on all the streamers and all those lovely things, winning all sorts of awards. So I, especially for my first project as a producer, like my baby, I could not be more proud. It exceeded any and all expectations I ever had.
So, what do you want to say to the folks who have those doors shut in their faces? You did not let that door stay closed. You kept searching. What advice can you give those folks who are still trying to, knock that door down?
I mean, it may sound cliche and it sounds easier than it is. And, I've had really difficult times, but it truly is just persistence and commitment. And more than anything, like belief in yourself and belief in what you're doing. So, just fight, 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 fight. If the door closes, find the window. If the window's closed, you know, shatter the glass. Like, find a way.
You've definitely done that. You know, we were talking about Zoe and with Degrassi. Such a role model, especially for the things that she had gone through. And gosh, we could talk about all the things. What did that character do for you personally, and what did it do professionally? Because to me, the two of you, and I'm going to say is that the two of you are true role models in Canada.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It was a privilege to play Zoe and to tell her stories. And I think, my most rewarding moment, probably the most rewarding moment of my career, having to portray this character and tell these stories and have fans connect with them on such a deep level. To this day, I still get tens of messages a day talking about how Zoe is their idol, somebody that they looked up to, especially with her coming out story, which was such a difficult story. um so to know that it resonated with so many people is honestly why I do what I do. Like, I do it to put some love out into the world and to let people know that they're not alone with whatever they're going through. So yeah, that's what Degrassi was for me.
And you're still connecting with people because, one of the big things we're going to talk about is from the last time we spoke, music.
Yeah.
You are, of course, an amazing voice. And from the last time we spoke with the release that you had back then to now, your voice has matured and your music has matured a lot. How
Thank
much
you.
has what has happened around the world in the last 2 years, 3 years, has, if you want to say, affected the way you wrote what we're going to talk about this EP?
Yeah, well, I mean, as an artist, it's tough to control your inspiration. So absolutely everything that's been happening around me and around all of us in the world collectively has definitely informed the music that I'm making. I'm trying to be a lot more clear with my purpose, with my intention, and yeah, just really driving that home with my music.
What's the new EP called? And what's it about as it represents this time in your career?
Ooh, loaded question. The EP is called yeah, load it up. The EP is called Strive, and for me, Strive is it's a pandemic project for sure because I recorded the demos and everything at home in my condo through my really pathetic home studio, and but more than that, it's you know, the pandemic really forced me to get outside of my comfort zone. And so with Strive, I I really pushed myself in multiple directions. So I kind of found opportunity in the crisis and I decided to, let's push our boundaries and get outside of that comfort zone. So, when you listen to the EP, there's like an almost EDM track, there's a dance track, there's a straight pop track, there's a Latin track, there's a like a mid-tempo wannabe ballad track. So I kind of, covered a lot of territory with this EP, and that was kind of my a way to challenge myself as a creative person. So Strive is definitely my kind of COVID survival kit. And so basically, each of the letters in Strive represent different different things.
Wow.
So S is self love, which is one of my biggest lessons during the pandemic. T is to transcend, to surpass and go beyond our limits, to top myself. The R is for reflection, which of course we all had a lot of time to do. I is for instinct, to follow them, because oftentimes we don't. V is for being vulnerable, and you know that being okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. And E is to emerge, to kind of show up for yourself, and that's what I really tried to strive for during this pandemic.
Let's talk about two singles, All Night. What is
Yeah.
that one about? Describe the video, please. And is there a Degrassi alumni in there in the video too?
Oh, well, you kind of spoiled it.
Oh, then let's not name who that person is. Let's leave that one
Let's
out.
not.
Okay.
Okay, okay. All night is, gosh, it's a heavy track as far as meaning goes, and it's just about how we all deal with anxieties, and the negative things that are happening in our lives, and how, yeah, just truly how we deal with things. So it's, again, it's a darker song, but the beauty of it, I think, is that everybody takes away something different from that song. It connects to people in very, very different ways, and that's something that I've really been learning over social media, with fans telling me what it means to them. But the video is, again, dark, but very cool, very stylized. Tells the story of a young gentleman who shall not be named, uh, who's struggling with anxiety and alcoholism, and so my character in the video is kind of his right arm, his support system. And so really the moral of the video and of the song is to know that you're never alone with whatever you're going through, which really ties into what Degrassi was all about, never being alone. And so that's why it felt very fitting to have a Degrassi alum be in the
Okay.
video.
How did you guys get this done? Especially because, of course, didn't matter where you were in Canada. Some things were opening, some things were closing. You're only allowed this amount of people. You weren't allowed this amount of people. You can go into this facility. No, you can't go in that facility. So, how did you get such a
Yeah.
cool video recorded?
Oh gosh, having a dynamic dream team, that's how. Dasha Kamenko and the team at the Orange Lounge just killed it with producing this video, and as well as our directors and like the whole crew. But it was a lot of a lot of obstacles, of course. We had a location, and then that location fell through the night before we had to shoot, because somebody contracted COVID and they had to completely lock up the location.
Wow.
So that sucked, but we pivoted, something that we got used to during this pandemic. And we ended up using a space and making it work. Everybody was tested before we shot the video. Of course, the masks and sanitizing and limited crew and all those wonderful things also, were things that we took into consideration and had to do. But you know what, we got it done, and I couldn't be happier with the way that it turned out.
Sounds like this was the video that was supposed to be made. So now I want to make sure
Yeah.
I get this right because I don't want to say this wrong. Feet Don't Fail Me Now is the new single out right now, which has a completely different feel from what we were just talking about. Talk about
Hmm.
this one, and this goes with what you're saying about there's a little bit of everything in this EP.
Exactly. Yeah. So Feet Don't Fail Me Now is definitely more of that, straight pop track. And honestly, it's about a breakup, and the betrayal, and moving on from that, and finding your strength through those really tough times, those dark times, and persevering, and finding the beauty of being on your own.
So where does this go now? Because you have so many facets in this business that you are going through, and you're successful in everything that you're doing. How much
Mm.
time can you get? I'm gonna keep it that way because, like I said, I
Okay.
love everything you're doing. So, will you have a chance to maybe tour this EP? Will there be any virtual performances? Are we looking at that? Are we also going to be looking at maybe other movie or television projects? There are so many things that somebody like you can do. What is the future looking like right now, whether it comes to music, comes to television, and social media?
Well, I mean, the world is still, very uncertain, especially now with all these variants and things. So, my life is still very uncertain. I'm developing projects just solely as a producer, so that's still keeping me busy. But I would love nothing more than to go on tour and to perform my music live with audiences and connect with people. That's my favorite thing to do. I'm a performer at heart, so I'm craving that more than anything. But with the EP release on Friday, I'm doing not a virtual performance, but a little listening party on my Instagram. So fans can tune in and check out the songs before they're officially released.
Fantastic. Look, before we wrap this up, any words of wisdom for folks who out there who are just so fatigued with everything that's going on, and in the back of our heads, anybody who really realizes what's going on, because you did talk about another variant that devastated India and is in Canada right now.
Yeah,
There is a chance there could be a fourth wave. You never know.
there.
And
Yeah.
if it happens, it'll happen like November, December. What advice can you give folks who are like just fatigued and just like, can we just get to the good times? What advice can you give those folks out there?
I would say that, try to find the beauty in every day. As tough as that is, especially during these very strange and uncertain times, finding moments of beauty and gratitude more than anything, I think is what's going to keep us centered and keep us focused on the path forward and a path full of love and light and compassion.
As we wrap this up, I've never asked somebody this question, but I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
Your hair looks amazing. What shampoo do you use for your hair? It's like, damn, this girl's got great hair.
Thanks. I'm using Mondays. I think it's called Mondays. It's like a pink bottle. Shoppers.
Okay, there you go, folks. And I know people are going to be sitting there going, she's got great hair.
Why is it so shiny? It's lighting. It's
It's
lighting. That's
lighting there.
it.
Always great talking to you. Cross fingers that we can do this in person next time around.
Yes.
Congratulations on this new release, the music, the movie,
Thank you.
everything else too, and of course what you've done with Degrassi is again phenomenal. Thank you again,
Thank
and looking
you.
forward to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Rudy. Thank you for being a constant supporter and thank you for the